Welcome everybody to our next segment of Where Are They Now? Catching Up with our Olim, where we talk to former Beth Aaron members who have made Aliyah. Today's Olim that we're speaking to are our dear friends Abby and Steve Leichman from Ma'ale Adumim, and let's get started. Okay, so wonderful to see you. It's really wonderful to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you when we finally get back to Israel, but until then, we could still catch up. So tell us, first of all, how many years were you Beth Aaron members?
We were members for 20 years. We moved to Teaneck in 1987, and we made Aliyah in 2007, and we were members the entire time.
Okay, great. And when you moved in 2000, you said 2007 you moved. Who did you move in? Who did you move with? And tell us about your kids and what are they doing now?
You take it away. Okay. When we moved, well, we have 3 children, and so the oldest Chaim, otherwise known as KJ, had already been here for 5 years when we moved. And he got married very shortly after we moved. Our middle son, Joey, did not move with us, and he currently lives in Stamford, Connecticut. And we moved with Ilana, our youngest, who had just graduated from Frisch. So she was 18 at the time.
Mm-hmm. And where is Ilana now?
Okay. So Ilana got married to actually a Teaneck boy in Israel in 2011, and they lived here. They lived in various places in Israel for about 5 years, and then they went up to Portland, Oregon, about 5.5 years ago, because her husband went to earn a master's degree in Portland, and they've been there, and they are, thank God, looking into coming back at the end of this school year, God willing, and they now have 2 children, ages 3 and 1, and our son here, Chaim, he and his wife have 5 children from age 13. We just had our first grandson bar mitzvah.
Mazel tov.
Down to 2.5.
Okay, wow. And I was so surprised because I thought that Ilana had just moved to Portland like 2 years ago. I didn't realize she was there for 5.5 years. Yeah. And Ilana's husband's name, he's from Teaneck. His name is?
Yeah, Zev Alpert.
Okay. So I know that a lot of people know the Alpert. So this is
yeah, they're not Beth Aaron, but yes.
Yes. Okay. So tell us about your move. First of all, how did you choose? Did you move directly to Ma'ale Adumim? And how did you choose Ma'ale Adumim to be your home?
Well, we moved directly to Ma'ale Adumim, and we chose it because our son Chaim was here in the Hesder Yeshiva. Mm-hmm. So we visited many times, and we had one friend here, and then we started to get more friends here. Every time we visited, we met more people. And it's, very much like Teaneck in the sense of it's a suburb of a large city. We are just a few minutes away by bus from Yerushalayim. And I always say I used to take the 167 to Port Authority. Instead, I take now the 174 to the Tachana Merkazit. And it's still the same 35, 40 minutes. It's still the same trip. And it's very much what we both were suburban people growing up, and that's how that's what we like. So it's got, all the amenities of a large city, and it's got, the convenience of being right next to Yerushalayim, and it's just a beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place, and I've been lucky enough to visit you in your beautiful home. It is beautiful. It's breathtaking.
Thank you.
Breathtaking. So tell us about your transition when you made Aliyah. Like, was it smooth, or were there obviously there's always bumps along the way that you weren't expecting? Can you give us a little insight into what you experienced?
Okay. Well, moving anywhere is always a big transition. But we tried to be as prepared as we could, and we tried to have the right attitude also. It helped very much that our daughter Ilana was very, very much on board with making Aliyah. And there was no coercion involved, there was no persuasion involved. This is what she wanted to do as well. We both wanted to do it as well. And originally we moved to a small-ish apartment, which wasn't something we were used to because our home wasn't ready yet. It wasn't built yet. So we had 1 year of sort of just that settling in period in a place where we weren't fully unpacked and all of that stuff. And that, I guess that could have been harder than it was, but I was already working really from the day we arrived. And as well, we landed in such a wonderful, wonderful neighborhood where we just had so many good friends. A lot of people, the neighborhood we are in has a lot of people our age, a lot of who came from English speaking countries, but it also has a lot of Israelis. It's very mixed. Both in terms of ages of people and in terms of what we call Anglos, English speakers and Israelis. So right from the start, we just had incredible support from our neighborhood and from our relatives. We have lots of relatives in Israel as well. So we just had, for us, that was the key. You know, we just had incredibly wonderful support from everybody with all the transitions we were going through. Just one tiny example is one person I had just met across the street took me to the supermarket for like 2 hours just to explain everything to me. How do you shop in Israel? How do you navigate that? Which is something that people have trouble with. So we were very fortunate in that way, and I think we also had in mind that every time we conquered something, like for instance, talking with a delivery person or repair person and understanding them and making ourselves understood, we celebrated those as victories. We celebrated those moments. Yeah.
Sure. I was going to ask you, so were you Hebrew speakers when you got there, or did you find that you needed Ulpan? Did you find that was a challenge?
It still is. Languages are not our strong suit, although we're both writers, which is kind of funny. It's just not our strong suit. So again, we were able to get by. We're still able to get by. Obviously, I'm understanding way more. Reading was never a problem. Comprehension was usually very good to pretty good. It's just the speaking. It's composing sentences and stuff like that. Going to the hardware store and explaining I need this thing.
Yeah.
It's fun, but again, you know what? View it as a challenge. It's kind of it's an adventure.
Yeah, and we both took Ulpan. We both went to Ulpan, and that helped. That definitely helped immensely. And as it's been 14 and a half years almost, so our Hebrew's definitely better than it was when we arrived. But both of us work in English. So aside from the sort of neighborhood conversations we have with the taxi drivers, the gardener, whatever, we don't speak in Hebrew on a daily basis, but we are now at a point where we can understand and make ourselves understood.
Okay. And it sounds like your attitude is really a driving force in making this so successful. And so tell us about your work situation. You said you're working there from day one, so you had that set up, obviously. So tell us more about that. And
okay, so I'll go first on that. Well, the job that I had set up when we came was not actually my field. I worked at the Record for 14 years before we met Aliyah. So I was a features writer and a copy editor. I also wrote and still write for the Jewish Standard. So when we arrived, I had something set up in legal editing, which is something I had never done, and it wasn't a job that I enjoyed at all. I didn't stay with it very long, but it was valuable for a couple of reasons. First of all, because it got me out of the house, and Steve and Ilana were left to deal with all the settling in stuff that I didn't have to deal with. And it also, gave us some income when we arrived, and it also introduced me to some wonderful people I worked with, some of whom I'm still friends with to this day. But very quickly, I realized that wasn't really what I wanted to be doing, and I was extremely blessed to find plenty of work in my field. I worked for the past about 11 years. I've been working full-time with Israel 21C, which is a website about Israeli innovation, and I'm the chief writer and associate editor of that website.
It's a great website. It's great.
Thank you. It's always interesting. It's always diverse, and it's a lot of fun. I've really learned a lot and interviewed some amazing people. Learned a lot about Israel, and so that's my full-time thing. And then I also write, as everybody there probably knows, for the Jewish Standard. I continue writing for the Standard. I also write for the Jerusalem Post. I do book reviews, and I do profiles of Olim, and I do some other freelance stuff here and there. So I've been, thank God, very, very much employed in my field, which is fantastic.
Yes.
So I'll let Steve go now.
Okay, Steve?
I worked for about 5, 6 years. Again, also my field, I was high tech, computer systems. I worked for a company in the Gush. I was their IT manager and a project manager. And then at a certain point, the company was sold, laid off. They laid off a bunch of people, including myself. And we kind of looked around and said, you know what? I don't really have to work, which was kind of a really cool thing. We had gotten to the point in life where Abby was earning enough money and we were at a point where, the expenses were manageable. I didn't have to work. But then my plans for retirement got derailed because I had a friend that needed somebody as a technical writer for a startup company in Tel Aviv. And I started to work with him part-time. And then I got another call from another venture capitalist saying, we heard about you at this place, come work, we need your help here. And it's just the phone kept ringing, which was kind of, and I wasn't, again, this is all min hashamayim. I wasn't drumming up business in any way, shape or form. Sorry.
That's another call.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was kind of like trying to move into the retirement world, but it just wasn't working. And then the most ironic thing was about 2 months ago, I got a call from somebody that I've done a little bit of work for, and they said, we want to hire you, like, this is a company in the States. We want you to work for us 40 hours a week. I said, I'm not doing 40 hours a week. We negotiated down to like maybe 30 to cap it out, whatever. So this is like the retirement to just keep not happening. But it's, again, I'm laughing about this, literally mamash min hashamayim, that, it's just, the stuff keeps falling in my lap.
Yeah.
So, and I enjoy it. I mean, it's fun stuff. You meet some interesting people. They're working on interesting projects. And I get to learn about all these new technologies from the inside out. So
wonderful.
Yeah, again, it's not exactly my field, technical writing, but I took, I had some training in it when I got here. But it's still what I've always done, which is technology, just another part of it, and utilizing my native English skills. My ability to write and communicate in English properly.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So it's it's just another offshoot of what I've done.
Okay, that sounds great. That does sound great. I wanted to ask you, now that you're living in Israel and you're settled, and thank God. I mean, of course, you're always growing, you're always learning. But are there things even now that kind of take you by surprise that you that you come across that you're like, what? Oh, that would never happen in America, or like that, either good or bad. Can you think of anything?
Okay, that was not exactly the question you had on the sheet, but that's a slightly different answer. I will give you the classic example I've used 1,000 times.
Okay.
I am standing by Binyanei Huma in Yerushalayim. I'm waiting for my bus at the bus stop. This young mom gets off the bus. She has the bag, the diaper bag, the packages. She's got the little baby under her arm. She's got the stroller all folded up. And she's looking around. I walk over. I go like this, the universal sign of give me the baby. Because strollers are difficult, babies are easy. Baby have a top, baby has a bottom, you coochie-coo them. Yeah. And that's what I did. Picked up the baby, coochie-coo, did the whole thing. She gets herself all settled in, unfolds the stroller, puts the bags away, gets all organized. She takes the baby back and off she goes. Thanks me very much. That is the classic welcome to Israel moment. Yeah, it's like
it wouldn't happen in this.
It would happen. You don't even think twice. Nobody thought twice about this. This is the most natural thing in the world. Take the baby, help the mom, and get on with your day.
That happened. Yes, that happened. Now that you mentioned that story, it happened with me when I was watching my grandkids. We were on a bus, and I'm not even familiar with all this stuff. I'm getting on. I'm trying to pay. I have one grandchild. And before I know it, I guess someone had taken the baby from me, and not just one baby. They passed him down several people, and I found him at the back of the bus, and they're holding the baby, and they're like, and I did not think anything of it. I knew that he's being taken care of. Well, I couldn't.
Yeah, so yeah, and I would actually add something else too. I mean, and it's all in this. There's another story that we like to tell people because it's also indicative. First of all, the whole baby story. It really points up the fact that, and we're constantly seeing this all the time, that we're all family in Israel. There's this incredible family feeling. It's like there's maybe 1 degree of separation between people, for good or for bad. But it's a very much of a family feeling, and nobody thinks twice about offering you food on the bus or offering their baby to you on the bus, whatever it is, to help them out. But the other thing I think that we should mention is it's also Steve's great story about not judging people by how they look. And I think it's different here than in the States. You want to tell your story about the attack on America?
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not like I always spend my time on the attack on
It's always
America.
about buses, right? It's a great equalizer. We don't have a car, by the way. We have never purchased a car in Israel. We live very nicely on public transportation. We rent a car when we need it. When we arrived, our friends here all placed bets on how long we'd last without a car. It's been 14 and a half years. So go ahead and tell your story.
I'm waiting for somebody. I forgot what the occasion was. I'm waiting for somebody upstairs, and I'm outside one of these clothing stores, which has got the clothing with the modern clothing and the loud music and the whole thing. And this girl walks in, and she's not wearing very much, and you can see the outfit she's trying to pick out, not very snua, but she walks in like 3 steps. She stops dead on her tracks. She backs up, kisses the mezuzah, and then continues in. The idea of walking into a room without kissing the mezuzah was just, foreign to her. You can't do that. And, it was clearly, if you were to see her, you'd say, there's no spirituality, there's no yadus, there's no nothing. And the mistake I have not made since then is judging a book by its cover, whether for good or for bad. Some people that look, like they have all the midot, don't, and some people look like they're just the worst in the world, have all the midot in the world,
Right.
and a lot of spirituality. And it's a really interesting, eye-opening thing.
True. That's true. And was there another story that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share? Because I know I had sent you some questions.
No, I think we're good with that. But
Okay.
yeah, it's something that I see all the time, by the way, this whole idea, in Israel, where there are very, very many Israelis who don't look the part of being, I guess, religious. But they don't wear a kippah on their head or whatever. But like, for instance, our gardener, he doesn't wear a kippah. But this man is such a Yiras Shamayim. And again, it's something that I think that surprised us in a good way. He could spout all the laws of Shnat Shemitah to me much better than I know them.
Wow.
And it's just, that's a good that we've had
Wow,
here.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Very clearly, he said I have to be very careful with Shemitah and all the laws of Arla and all that stuff, because he goes, my parnasah depends upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if I mess that up, he's not going to be happy with me. And there goes my parnasah. So
it's true.
It's very interesting.
That's true. That's beautiful. All right, my next question is, well, before we even move on to the Beth Aaron thing, I wanted to ask you, so you feel that you and your family, it sounded like you integrated pretty smoothly when you, first of all, you had a son there already, and when you started building your house, were you in Israel already and then built a house, or were you having it built before you got to Israel? Or
it was about 75-80% done when we moved. We were there for the last year of it being built, with the finishing, which is the most important, the finishing parts and all that good stuff. So yeah, it took us exactly 1 year from the time we moved, made Aliyah, to the time we were able to move into the house.
Okay. So, and have you remained, I know you do remain in contact with, and you have close ties with Beth Aaron members. I could tell you from my own children who you have hosted, who are very, you were very key to them, making them feel welcome. I know when my son was in the army, you were, people, thank God, people looked out, the Beth Aaron members really looked out for their own. So do you continue to have people, host people? Do you want to tell us about that?
It's been a little bit of a quiet period over the last 18 months or so.
Well, before the pandemic, I should say.
Forgetting the pandemic. Yeah, absolutely. We host people very, very often from all over the place. We actually have a guest book over the past 10 years or so. We host a lot of gap year kids from all over the place, and a lot of them have been from Teaneck. A lot of them have been kids either we knew their parents or didn't know their parents, and we love hosting people from Beth Aaron. We are in touch with a bunch of Beth Aaron people who made Aliyah, including there's some in here in Male Adumim as well. What's interesting is that some of them, like who comes to mind immediately, Barbara and Fred Kasdan and Shelley and Phil Stein,
Mhm.
were people we knew certainly when we were in Teaneck, but we're much closer with them now. We all live in Male Adumim, and we have something, you know, very natural in common. We all chose to leave a lovely place called Teaneck to come to a lovely place called Male Adumim because we are very, very Zioni, and we've become even closer with them. So, but we love getting together with people. We see Beth Aaron people at all kinds, you know, simchas and so on, and occasionally, unfortunately, funerals as well. But we definitely love having everybody here, and anybody from Beth Aaron who would like to come and stay with us, we're here.
Okay, thank you. And on the last question, I just want to ask you, do you have any special memories, specific memories about Beth Aaron you'd like to share, and any kind of shout outs to your friends here?
Okay.
Well, Mitch, you still owe me an answer on that question about Lechem Oni, so get moving.
Steve was referring to Mitch first, his longtime Akabrusa. We had a wonderful experience at Beth Aaron, and we made lots of really, really good friends. And Esther, you were part of the book club that I led.
That's right. 2001, I think you started the Shul Book Club, 2001, I think.
I think so. I think that's right. It was an absolutely wonderful thing. And as you know, we are in touch, you know, with you and with other people from Beth Aaron as well. But lots of shout outs. I mean, it's a wonderful community. I do want to say, you know, when we came to town, it was Rabbi Counterfogel, who we've been close with for a long time. And Rabbi Rothwax, one of the things I would like to say about him is that he was always very encouraging of Aliyah in a very, very sincere way, and we appreciated that very much. Yeah, and I think that's important. I don't think that's the case in every shul, and so he deserves everybody's gratitude for that, for making that a priority and a value.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, I think we pretty much covered everything that I wanted to. I mean, we could talk for hours and hours, but we'll do that offline. And and I appreciate you giving us your time, spending time with us.
Pleasure.
And I just want to remind everybody that this will be shared on the Shul's Facebook page. And if you would like to subscribe, please do. So you'll be alerted for this interview and more to come. Anyway, I wish you all the continued success. I wish you good health. And I look forward to seeing you back in Israel. We're hoping
yes, God willing. We can't wait to see you again here, and anybody else who wants to come also. Thank you so much, Esther. It's a pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. So I'm going to stop the recording now. Let's see.